and social work. She's the founder and clinical director of Women and Girls Network, a holistic therapeutic service working with women and girls surviving gendered violence. Akima has pioneered working from a trauma-informed approach and has developed a strength-based, non-pathologising clinical model. Her holistic empowerment recovery model, the HER model, integrating healing of mind, body and spirit. And more recently, Akima has researched women's healing journey, chronicling their strategies of resistance, rebellion and resilience to ensure survival. Thank you as always, Akima.
Thank you, Jo. Okay, let me just get my slides up before I get startled with seeing my face on the screen. Yep, here we go. Can you all see that? Let me
just coming up for us, Akima. I think it's nearly there. How are you doing on your side?
I can see my slides, but they don't seem to be sharing. Can you not see them?
They've not shared as yet. Maybe you want to stop the share and we try it again?
Yep.
Yeah, let's give that a go.
That's not happening either.
It doesn't want to stop the share. No. I think we can interrupt the share from here. So let's do that. Share.
Oh, that's a shame.
So that's stopped.
I don't know whether it's my side. I seem to be frozen.
Yes, we've lost your video as well now, Akima. Let's see. So, yeah, we don't need to rush. We can just take a moment to see where we are, see if we can, yeah. Okay. Can you hear us, Akima? Is our audio?
I can, but I can't. I seem to be frozen and I have no idea why.
Yeah, we've lost your video and the share's not stopping either. That's the...
yeah.
See. So let's see if we can stop your share. There we go. And then let's see if you can try sharing it again. Let's give it a go. Not seeing anything.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Akima?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. I mean, maybe
my screen is frozen. So
it's totally frozen over there, and we're getting a signal that you're joining Zoom. How strange! That's really weird. Maybe we go into the presentation. You talk to us, and we've got the audio for now, and we see if things improve as you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, unless Akima leaves the Zoom room and comes back in, that sometimes can sort it out.
That's a good idea, Jo. Yes, thank you. How about that, Akima? Do you want to try that?
I will try that. Let me just see if I can.
And if there's anything else you can close on your laptop, yeah.
Yeah, nothing seems to be. I've got a total. Oh, let me just see if this. Yeah, I've got a total malfunction.
Oh no.
It is working. Nothing is working. I can't.
Is everything frozen on your end?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear. I think Akima, yeah, so Akima is managed to go out and then hopefully we'll be back in a couple of minutes. I've just seen your suggestion, Michelle. Yeah, why don't we take a couple of minutes, maybe for a quick screen break while we get Akima sorted out. So if anybody wants to grab 2 or 3 minutes, Wesley's got the slides. So maybe Wesley, you see if you can share the slides. Get the first slide up on the screen and then, yeah, hopefully we'll have Akima back in a few minutes. How about we say we come back at 22, give ourselves 5 minutes. What do you think, Jo, while we get... Oh, Akima's coming back in, so we might be doing all right. Let's see. Hi, Akima.
Yeah, can you see me now?
We can. Why don't we
Well,
share
let me
your
get-
slides for you? So,
Okay.
and that
Well,
will
let me
help
just
you.
see if I can do it.
Okay, yes.
Hold on
I
a
was
minute.
just might be a little easier on your computer
Oh,
if
okay.
we. Well, let's give it a go and see what happens.
Only because there's a number of them. So what's that like?
That's coming up. Yeah. If you then go to the play slideshow.
Oh, please.
Yes, it's worked. Well done, Akima. And thank you for keeping a cool head in amongst the.
I really didn't. But anyway, but look,
Okay.
look at those 48 moons. That's the colours of the moon. It took this woman astrophysicist 10 years to record all of those. So I just want to kind of settle myself with something out of this world. And forgive me for talking about healing the wounded heart. And this is a message to, I guess, that speaks to the profundity of the experiences of violence against women and girls, in terms of injuries that bruise the soul. And so there's something that needs to be held really profoundly. So I don't want that to be obnoxious, but I do want it to be an ambition that we're going to be healing hearts. I understand that maybe what I will share with you is going to hit and move us in different kinds of ways. So I'm just going to read this very quickly to you, which is about brave space. So together we will create brave space because there is no such thing as safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars and have caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and to more love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. This space will not be perfect, but it will always be what we wish it to be. But it will be our brave space together. And we will work on it side by side. That's not an apology. That's just saying, about how, it's important that we, share safe space. And I guess I want to start by kind of thinking as well about some of the things that we've heard today as well about it's no accident. It's a deliberate and intention of the state to marginalise, discriminate, and not have equity and freedom and justice for certain groups of people. And I'm going to be talking specifically about Black and minoritized survivors. I usually start with a poem, which is about Black women's experience of, of the impact of abuse. And I felt that I wanted to kind of expand that into a more deliberate understanding about what those mechanisms and how somebody gets marginalised, not pushed into, but dragged into those margins. What does that mean as well? And about how survivors, Black and minoritized survivors, experience the lack of care in the system, and how that system upholds certain parts of the state in terms of the discrimination. And also that has a very long history. Psychiatry is littered, is weaved, is interwoven with the state machinery that kept certain people hostage, kept certain people down. And those compounded experiences for Black and minoritized communities about what it's like to have all of those inequalities experienced throughout their life. And also that we know these kind of things as well, which is really important for us to think about, that the African Caribbean community, my community, always experiences those hard edges of treatment responses. So there's high rates of diagnosis of schizophrenia and overemphasis on medication. Usually sectioning happens, and that's also about higher rates of sectioning, mental health sectioning, and also that's usually alongside police as well. So they're usually involved in that as well. So we've got this, which is about the mad, bad, and also dangerous. And there's not even a pretense as well about trying to access support and care. So all of those things in terms of how trauma is reinforced, and it means those with the greatest need face the most disadvantage. And also how that echoes, how that ripples throughout somebody's life as well. So that there's frequently, a sense that life isn't as it should be, that there isn't that parity, there isn't that security for certain communities. And that has lifelong consequences. I also wanted to kind of think as well about, what it means for Black and minoritized women in terms of that label of mad, and, how we're racialized and stereotyped as being very angry. And of course, that fits very conveniently with diagnoses which have those same criteria of unreasonable anger. And I want to think about that justified anger, and I'll talk to that a bit later as well. And also the same way that the survivors' mental health is weaponized by perpetrators in terms of, and the state just goes along with that. The state also, takes women's children away. The state doesn't support in terms of homelessness. So all of those things. So we can think about that lack of justice in terms of that narrowing of justice for those at that sharp end by both the perpetrator and the state. And I wanted to kind of talk about those experiences of racism and what that means, and those microaggressions that accumulate over our lifetime in terms of those macroaggressions, and how we experience a restriction of access to things. Those unconscious racial biases, we're told, but actually those unconscious racial biases are very conscious for us. And that racial gaslighting, where our realities are distorted, where there isn't the truth, there's somebody is trying to manipulate our reality. And misogynoir, which is about thinking about actually how those two things come together, a hatred of Black people and a hatred of women. And that how that impact of discrimination and equality runs throughout our life. And the danger is about it costs us our life. It's really important things for us to think about. I'm running a bit, but I just really like this statement, which is about racial abuse pierces your skin, embeds itself inside of you. So it gives to the very kind of profundity of it in terms of what that means, in terms of the danger, what it means in terms of that, the reaction that it creates as well. And usually when we're in a terrible situation, we look to others to confirm, to check out the validity of that experience. And probably for most of us, we're met with either a looking away or a compliance with whatever's been said or whatever's being done, which adds to that sense of humiliation. And those experiences of racism, gets under the skin, but also that it creates a huge reaction in terms of avoidance, in terms of flash forwards, flashbacks, and all of those kind of things. And I say that not just as symptoms, but what I'm trying to convey is the injury that happens as a result. So I'm not describing symptoms or any kind of disorders. I think it's very orderly in terms of us understanding that absolute reaction to the danger of racism. And then also for us in terms of that over visibility, invisibility, wow, the confusion of that all at the same time. And nobody wants to hear our lived experience. Nobody wants to hear the impact of what it's like to have double, triple jeopardy in terms of experiences of VAUG, experiences of racism, experiences for me as a lesbian. So all of those things, how do we understand how all of those things put us in a very tight place, and that reductionist view where only one aspect of ourselves